Well, hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've just been in here doing a bit of research, waiting for the next doors or down the road's lawnmower to stop creating heaps of sound to drown out my videos. Now it stopped, so hopefully we can get in this short video. Just as I've been doing this, I've seen a few YouTube comments come in on my YouTube channel, and I always enjoy that. I'll have a look at those in a minute. So I always enjoy people commenting on my videos, so please do so if you want to say something. I'll always be glad to respond to you. So today I want to talk about what I call my poor man's Spotmatic, and by that I mean a Praktica camera. My favourite first SLR was the Pentax Spotmatic, which I've talked about before on this channel, and I used for weddings when I first started out. But somewhere on the way back then, I also bought a Praktica camera because it's the same lens mount, M42, that the Pentax Spotmatic has. And I guess I must have bought that as a backup. I think I bought it new actually at the time. Well, the interesting thing in this pandemic time over the last 12 months, I've actually been gifted some cameras. I think I've received about 6 or 7 cameras that people have given me from different sources. And one of them, the most valuable one that I got given, was a Rolleiflex twin lens reflex, which I still haven't used much at all yet, and I'm still going to do a review. But in the same package that I got that with, I also got a Praktica, and I'm not sure which one it was. I think it's the MTL3, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But just a little bit of a background on these cameras. It's not going to be you can read lots about these cameras on the internet, and other people have done reviews. I'm just going to show you something, and I'm also going to show you something a little bit different that came with the camera when I got it. But to give you a little bit of background reading, I'm going to I've got heaps of photographic magazines that go all the way back, and some of them back in the 50s. This one here is an English one, Practical Photography, January 1968. That one goes back to, and there's an ad, a full page ad here for the Pentax Spotmatic, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, Asahi Pentax first introduced through-the-lens metering to the world in 1960. No wonder the Pentax Spotmatic is the leading camera of its kind. This outstanding through-the-lens camera is every inch of Pentax. That's why it has kept its head so easily among TTL cameras. The metering system with its twin CDS cells is straightforward and pretty near faultless. The Spotmatic is a camera that is really fast in use, and it's when you're in a hurry to get a shot that you bless the accuracy of the through-the-lens metering in your Spotmatic. And it goes on to say a bit more about it, of course. And this is an English magazine, so the price quoted back then in 1968 was with the 55mm f1.8 6-element Super Takumar lens, it was £119 and 13 shillings. So that's how much that one cost back there. Now, the one that I'm talking about today is the Pentax, sorry, not the Pentax, the Praktica MTL3. And if I go, I've got heaps of magazines. Each year, Australian Photography and some of the other professional magazines would put out a compendium of all the photos, all the cameras that were available in that particular year. This one was for the 1979-1980 issue of different cameras you could get. There's a whole lot of SLRs in here, and including the Praktica MTL3, which I'm about to show you. Funnily enough, at this time the Pentax Spotmatic had actually ceased production at this stage, I think. So that doesn't get a mention in here. In fact, Pentax hardly gets a mention in here at all, except there is an ad in here somewhere for it, I think. Anyway, so I'm just reading a little bit about the Praktica MTL3. Through the lens metering, through beam divider, light concentrator and photoelectrical resistor, Fresnel lens with metering wedges and circular micro screen. Goodness me, I wonder what all that means. Metal blade focal plane shutter, speeds from 1/1000th of a second to 1 second, and B, 2 flash connections for electronic flash units and flash lamps, a plug connection through the center contact in the hot shoe, and flash socket for cable. 125th of a second flash sync speed. Auto film loading, f2.8 Tessar lens. The price for the one with the Tessar 2.8 lens was $213.50, and the price for the one with the f1.8 lens was a little bit dearer. That was $231 and no cents. So with the f1.8 Pentax lens. When I look at some of the cameras that there was actually about, in this magazine, there was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pentaxes, sorry, 6 Prakticas for sale at the time, all competing with each other, and they varied in price from up to from where were we, from $302 to about $280, depending on what model you got. So that was pretty good. So we come back here to this magazine. I think it was a little bit back in this one here. So at the same time they were advertising the Pentax. Where are we? Maybe it's not in that one. They were advertising the Pentax, sorry, the Praktica Nova camera. Now I've lost it. I had it all bookmarked here before. Too bad, you have to take my word for it. Enough of all this rambling on from the magazines anyway. So, yeah, the Praktica Nova was being marketed at the same time as the Pentax Spotmatic. And the Praktica MTL3, I've got some information here, says it was produced in high numbers between 1978 and 1984. So, and then I think, as I said before, the Spotmatic ceased production about 1976. Although you can still get them second-hand, of course. They're good cameras. So what does it say here? The shutter goes up to 1/1000th of a second. I think I read that out. This is the actual camera. It's a beautifully made little camera. Just hold that up to you there. Nice feel to the, it's very metallic. There's no plastic on this, I don't think. Very simple and very basic. Excuse me. There we go. That's the underside of it. It's got a this little lever here. Also, I think activates the meter. I haven't got a battery in this at the moment, but you can use these without a meter anyway. But this little lever here, you can see here, you press that in and that gives you a depth of field preview. If you've got it, say, set to, like this one is the maximum aperture is f2.8. If you set it to f5.6, it will show you everything that's in focus if you press that lever. And similarly, if you wind it all the way up to f22, which this one does, it'll also, if you press that lever, it will show you that just about everything's in focus. So that's your depth of field system. You've also got a self-timer lever here, and that's your shutter button down there, and it also takes a screw mount thread so you can put a plunger in it. I'll show you something quite unique that I got given with this camera, how you can utilize that. And down here is your flash sync terminal down there, and your hot shoe, of course, up there. So the beauty of this is that the Pentax Spotmatic, one of the good things is the Pentax Spotmatic has a 60th of a second flash sync speed, whereas this has 125th, which is a little bit better. And basically all the lenses I've got, the M42 lenses that I've got with my many Pentax cameras, all fit on this camera. And quite basically, this camera is as good as the Pentax Spotmatic in my opinion. And it just feels beautiful, and it's nice and chunky, and this one's a very clean unit. Interestingly enough, a friend of mine I worked with years ago, he had one of these, and he wanted to go to Mount Gambier down in the southeast of South Australia because there was an eclipse of the sun happening, and he knew I had a 400mm Soligor telephoto lens, which he didn't have, and he wanted to borrow that to photograph the eclipse in Mount Gambier. So I said, yeah, that's fine. So he took that and he attached it, because it was an M42 mount, he attached it to his Praktica, and he got 2 fantastic shots of the eclipse back then. No one in Adelaide hardly saw it because there was cloud cover here, but down at Mount Gambier he got a couple of beautiful shots which he took on slide film, which I've still got somewhere here in my archives, and it was more than capable of doing something like that. So they're good little cameras. They just screw on and screw off, these lenses. This one here is a Domiplan lens, f2.8 50mm lens, and I'm not sure, it's an interesting one. It's got the actual f-stops are right on the front of the lens there. You can see those there, right on the front. So you can just put this down for a minute. If I move that, you can see that's changing the f-stops right at the front, which is a bit unusual for cameras. Anyway, so there you go. I've got a film in this, so I'm not going to open the back and show you what it is, but now I'm going to show you something else. I've got a lens given to me, plus an attachment. This is a beautiful, what is it? It's a Tamron zoom lens. Look at that, that's a beauty. Very heavy and chunky, and it's got a mount here, so you can put the actual camera and lens on a tripod rather than try and put this part here on the tripod. You actually balance it in the middle. So I'll just put this on the camera for a starter. Just screw it on there. I'll just get up here and show you. I'm not very good at this, am I? Now I've got it. Now I've obviously set this before, because you can see that tripod mount there is pretty much lined up with the camera there, and how you can actually adjust that. There's a lever on the side here, this lever here, which you can actually adjust the positioning of that, so that when you screw this up, you can then bring this round to the right spot, so that it's all balanced nicely. So there you go. Now this is a what did I say it was? This is a Tamron zoom. It's a 70 to 220 millimeter f4 zoom lens. So it's a constant aperture f4, and it's a beautiful lens, and nice and big, and everything is just so smooth. You know, it's just a beauty to do that without even taking a photo. Anyway, so what else have we got that goes with this then that makes it quite interesting? How many of you have seen one of these things? Years ago, people used to get these triggers so that when you wanted to do telephoto work, you could use these like you were shooting a rifle and aim them like you were shooting a rifle. In fact, my beginnings of learning how to line things up were with a rifle, and my dad taught me out of shooting birds with an air rifle to shooting them with a camera. So I was used to lining things up. So this one here, what you do with this, it's a trigger mechanism. I'll just show you. And it's got a little plunger at the back, and that'll just go straight into your terminal on your camera. So I'll just attach it and show you. Screws onto the bottom here. Whoops, hang on. A bit tricky to do this. I'll just come up here a bit. Okay, so now I've got it mounted on there, and simply a matter of looking through there and lining it up. A lot of people who do bird photography, and I do a bit of bird photography, they've got all these latest fantastic cameras with all the multi-spot autofocus and everything, and it'll follow the bird and all that sort of stuff. And a couple of my cameras probably do that, but I've never bothered to use it. I like using single point focusing, and I like to use it as if I'm shooting a rifle, so that I follow the bird with my camera, and I keep looking at it, and I click it when I think I've got it in focus. I click the camera first and try and get the focus, and usually because you're in bright sunlight, you're usually shooting about f16. If you've got it on program, well, it's going to give you a fast shutter speed and a fairly good aperture as well. So there you go. So now I've got this cocked, so that's all ready to go. So I can line this up like this. What can I see through here? Not much. It's a bit dark in here. I'll go around this way. Now I can see, I can zoom in and out. This is a beautiful precision lens, this one. I've read a few write-ups about it, it's quite good. So there you go. I'm following a bird up in the sky. Hope you can see me there. I'm following up in the sky. I'll keep going, keep going, keep going. There you go, I got him. Did you hear that? Hear that shutter go off because I pulled the trigger. So it's like shooting a rifle. The Zenit Russian brand of cameras, they had a camera about years ago, just a basic Zenit camera, but they had a set. It had a 300mm lens, telephoto lens I think it was, and it had a pistol grip like this, and they called it the photo sniper, is what the Russians called it. And I was tempted to get one of those way back in the era when I was buying these sort of things, but I didn't bother. But they were at quite a good price. They weren't very dear at all. So there you go. I'll just do this again so you can hear the shutter go off. I think I got it all cocked. So we'll just press it again. Here we go. Whoops, hang on, I didn't press it hard enough. What's going on there, Jeff? I didn't have it wound on. Okay. Incidentally, in this viewfinder here, before, if you haven't got the camera wound on, ready to take a shot, I should have been looking through here. There's a little triangular black wedge that comes across to show you that you haven't cocked the shutter. Once you've cocked the shutter, it's now gone. It's not there on the left-hand side, so it's now ready to fire. Excuse me. So here we go. I'm just going to fire it now. We'll see what it sounds like. Hear that? Works brilliantly. I think I've actually, have I got some film in here? I think I have. I'm probably wasting these shots, but anyway, it's okay to do that while I'm demonstrating the camera anyway. It's more important to demonstrate the camera than worry about a little bit of film. So here we go, I'll fire it again. No worries, look at that. You can hold the camera very steady, and you could use this for other things like sports and motor racing perhaps, and all that sort of stuff as well. So there you go, something a little bit different. There's probably not too many of these videos on YouTube showing how these things work, but I love it. But I haven't got around to using it yet. There's always so much to do, isn't there? So there you go. That was the Praktica, the MTL3, and have a look it up, see what you think. But comparison-wise, they're really just as good as the Pentax Spotmatic. And when you've got a whole list, a whole bag full of M42 lenses, they'll all fit on these cameras. And most of the Prakticas are pretty good, and they're well made and they're solid construction, and you can't really go wrong. So there you go. Thanks for watching again. Got my button thing here somewhere that might be able to turn this off. Thanks for watching again. You might have noticed I've been putting a few little different things on YouTube lately, just a few experiments. There's one there that a mate of mine and I did about 8 years ago, commentating the footy, watching TV on a Friday night at his place, and we decided to have a bit of fun and make out we were armchair commentators. So if you watch that, though, you probably won't, if you're not Australian, you probably won't get all the jokes, and you might not have a clue what we're talking about. Anyway, we had fun. I've got 2 more episodes in that one. If you watch it and you think it's okay, tell me you'd like to see the other 2 episodes of which we recorded on the same night. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. That's what my barber always says to me when I'm leaving. Obviously you can tell I haven't been to see him for a little while, but he always says, see you next time. Good on you. Don't forget to subscribe if you wish, and like if you like. Catch you next time. It's not going to go, is it? I know why.